Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my podcast. My name is Lynette. Today, we're going to talk about change, make changes. What that means is, I know in life we all come to a place where we're just fed up with the status quo. We're fed up with the way we've been treated, maybe our jobs, maybe a breakup. Where you want to get away, you want to get a fresh start. But the key and the most important part of it is, no matter where you go, if you don't make a change yourself, the same thing will repeat itself. People will treat you just like they treated you where you are. It's not so much the geographical change as it is the internal change. I remember one time I was fed up and just a lot of things were happening. And I thought, I want to move to Mexico. So I was talking to this man at Starbucks and I told him I wanted to move. And he said, no matter where you go, you have to take yourself with you. And that made so much sense. It wasn't that the atmosphere was going to change or that the people were going to change or the environment was going to change. I was basically running without doing the work to create an internal change within myself. With that being said, when you decide to make those changes, as uncomfortable as it is initially, we tend to set more boundaries. And by setting more boundaries, you develop more confidence. And then when you develop more confidence, you ultimately, without verbalizing it, demand more respect. And so it's kind of a full circle situation that happens. You don't need to move. You don't need to change your surroundings. You don't need to have new people. Because no matter where you go, no matter what you do, it's going to be the same situation if you allow others to treat you the way you've always allowed people to treat you. And so you need to develop a self-love. And with that comes the confidence. And with the confidence comes the boundaries and the demanding of self-respect just by the way you carry yourself, the way you conduct yourself. So you can find that same peace, that same happiness, that same adjustment in your job. You can make all those changes right where you are. It's not running. It's not getting a fresh start, as people call it. It starts with you. It starts with you internally. When you set limits and boundaries with other people, not letting them disrespect you, not letting them take advantage of you, then you learn to trust yourself. And the more you trust yourself, the more confidence you have because you depend on you. I know in the last episode, I believe it was, we talked about nurturing that child within you that maybe didn't get everything that they felt they needed when they were growing up. And by you taking care of you, by you being able to depend on you, knowing that there is someone that's going to stick up for them no matter what, and it's you sticking up for yourself, breeds more self-confidence. And therefore, it demands more respect, it sets limits, it sets boundaries. And with all of that comes not only self-esteem, but also I think it brings you more peace and more happiness. So without making any geographical changes, the change needs to come within. And it's not a outward appearance change. It's not, I need to lose 15 pounds, or I need a new haircut, or I need a new outfit. It's nothing like that. It is an internal change. And you can't even make the change with lip service. It is literally something that needs to take place. And it may not be instantaneously. In fact, I'm sure it won't be instantaneously. But the point is, you have to start somewhere. And you start on that journey by putting one foot in front of the other and making a decision that you're going to walk in confidence. You're going to take care of you. And at first, like anything else that you're not used to doing, when you start setting those boundaries, it might feel foreign at first. It might even feel a little bit uncomfortable. And what's really weird is you might even get a little bit of kickback from the people because they get used to you or anybody being as they always have been in the past. And when you make the change, people almost can't accept it. But when it becomes your way of life, when you make the permanent changes, when this becomes the new you, the new chapter of your life, they will get it eventually because they can buck all they want. It doesn't matter because they will eventually see that they can't do that to you any longer. And I don't mean that anybody was deliberately taking advantage of you, but in life, I think people just get used to you being who you've always been to them. Once you make a decision and once you feel that you're going to protect yourself, that you're going to love yourself, that newfound confidence, that newfound self-esteem will resonate out from you. And people will at first try to treat you as they always have. But when they see that you've made these changes and you're not going back, this is who you are, then they will eventually get on board. Or they can jump ship, and that's okay too. The real interesting thing about making these kinds of changes, at first you want to do it because you're just tired of people treating you a certain way. You want to be more respected. But what's really interesting and the ironic part of it is when you do make the changes and they do become concrete in you, that they become who you truly are, you don't really care about the opinions of those other people. So in short, it's really a win-win. At first, you feel like you're doing it because you want to set boundaries to the people around you. But then when it takes place and you're living it, it's real. You don't care. Then you're not so consumed with how others respond to you. You just expect it because that's what you're giving to you. So that is who you are now. Have you ever noticed when you're around someone that has complete self-respect, complete confidence, that you treat that person the same? You kind of give them more respect. It just happens. You kind of get what you give off. And so it's about making the decision to make that change and working on it daily, working on it with every step you take until it becomes your way of life, your new normal. I remember one time I was watching Oprah Winfrey, and she basically said, everybody just wants to be accepted. So what happens is that when you accept yourself, when you become your own best friend, when you become your protector, then you have the ultimate acceptance, the acceptance of yourself, the acceptance of your self-love. And you can see when you put all that together, you can see how it would equate to self-confidence. And from then on out, it doesn't matter. It's better than, as I mentioned earlier, a new outfit, new haircut, new makeup, new whatever it is. When you feel that self-confidence and that self-love, there's a joy that goes with it because you're being with you, the person that loves you the most, the person who's going to protect you, the person who's going to take care of you. I think the start of this journey would be to make the decision. Now, I'm just going to tell you how I myself have developed changes. My journey in this wasn't about a decision that I made to make changes. It was, and I think I've shared with you, and I don't mean to undermine the devastation of COVID, but I'm just talking about my own journey. So COVID was here, and I had to spend so much time not being connected to friends and being alone by myself. And eventually I thought, you know what, I kind of like this. It is something I honestly never did, and I wouldn't choose to, but I was kind of forced into that situation. And so I think it was an awakening of a new part of me that I would have never gotten to know if I wasn't forced to be home alone. So this is just a suggestion. Everybody is on their own path. So during this time, when you're making changes, be careful about being around people who strongly influence you or large crowds with a lot of opinions. Or if you are, try not to take everybody's opinion in. I noticed one of the changes that I did make before COVID, and I've shared this probably multiple times in earlier episodes, is I had a nickname that as I got older and lived in different cities, it didn't really apply to me. Maybe when I was 10 years old, it would have been okay. But the people who knew me well and knew me all my life when I did not want to be called that anymore, it was amazing the resistance that I got. But anyway, as you take this journey, the first part is to make the decision and let your body tell you if you're around something or somebody that is causing you to be uncomfortable when you're trying to make this change. It doesn't mean that you have to kind of keep a low profile forever, but just be a little protective of yourself because you know what you're working toward. You know where you want to be. You know where you want to go. And you know what types of changes need to be made. So just be aware of environments that you're going into. It's almost like when you're on a diet, it's not a good idea to hang out at a bakery. And the same applies when you're trying to make changes within yourself. You know, some people are, for whatever reason, they take a little more energy to be around. So at that time, you want to kind of nurture yourself and be careful who you're around, that they're not distracting you from your goal, from your mission in your life. Because remember, as we go full circle, this change is about you and your life. And those people will be there. They're your friends or coworkers, whatever they are. They will be there. But right now, this is about you and you making changes. And if you're uncomfortable putting certain people kind of on hold, you don't have to do it to where they really realize you're putting them on hold, but just kind of be a little more protective of yourself. Then those are the very people that are showing you that you need to make this change, that you need to set the boundaries, because you should feel 100% comfortable in making a decision to better yourself. And they should support you. But most of all, you support yourself. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for these changes. And I think every day that we live, we should be wanting to make changes to better ourselves. But it starts somewhere. It starts here. And I think it's necessary and very important to develop confidence, self-love, representing yourself or presenting yourself, demanding nonverbal, but demanding respect, and feeling comfortable enough in your own shoes that if you're not getting respect, it can be a multitude of different ways, that you're not accepting that. But you have to own it. You have to really be in that place where you are not accepting it and you're comfortable with that. So if you're not comfortable and not accepting the way people are treating you, it just simply means you're in the process of making the change to where you will be comfortable. You will be comfortable in who you are. You will be comfortable how you let people treat you in a certain way. You will be comfortable in knowing that you're there for you, that you are going to protect you. And I think when you feel this self-protection, this self-love, then you can freely give love to others. And once again, I think it takes you back to the present moment. So it's all a win-win. You don't even have to say anything. People will notice that you've changed. As you make these positive changes to get people to treat you differently, in doing so, you don't really care as much about how they treat you because you know who you are. There's a lot to be said about being there for you, being your protector. With that being said, I thank you for listening. God bless you, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.